Thanks for joining us. This is the Northwest Minnesota Arts Council. I'm Kristen Ehrling, the promotion specialist, and we have Alicia Spilde with us. She's an artist from Karlstad and featured in our Welcome the Whimsical exhibit currently in Thief River Falls. Trey Everett, our showcase specialist, is also joining us. And Trey, maybe you can introduce yourself, and then Alicia.
Yeah, I'm Trey Everett. I'm the showcase specialist, as Kristen said, and I work with our various galleries, the traveling art exhibit, which Alicia has a piece in that as well. And yeah, and I work with kind of connecting artists together. And we're really happy to have you with us, Alicia. And to start out, could you just tell us a little bit about who you are?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me today. I'm really happy to visit with you too. But my name is Alicia Spilde. I live in Karlstad. I am a mixed media artist, kind of a folk artist. I use a lot of different materials to create my art, and I don't really follow any rules. I also own Sandridge Home Supply and Design, which is located on Main Street in Karlstad.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, and so you have two pieces right now in two of our exhibits, our traveling exhibit,
Mhm.
which was all that piece. It was also in our Northwest exhibit this last year. Um, and then you have another piece in the Whimsical. And I just want to mention our Whimsical exhibit comes to an end um, on well, let's see here, Friday, the 15th. So just a little over a week. So if you haven't been to the exhibit, those of you watching this, you got it one more week to check that out. And it's a really fantastic exhibit. So I guess to start out, could you just tell us a little bit about those two pieces and then anything else you want to say about some of your other artwork?
Sure. So both of those pieces have horses in them. And that's something like horses are something that's always been really important to me. It's probably the first thing I learned how to draw. Um, People would probably call me a horse girl, to be honest. I don't currently have any, but I've just been obsessed with them my entire life. Their form, like the shape, the way they move, I think they're just stunning creatures. And so lately, it seems like a lot of my artwork has been kind of tied to things that I loved in childhood. So, um, horses is the like my main love from childhood, to be honest. So it's really a feature in my artwork that I'm doing right now. Yeah, I'm just really enjoying kind of thinking about like, oh, what were my loves back then, and what do I want to focus on? Like what fun and like enjoyable things do I want to bring to my artwork? And so that happened in both of those pieces. And so the first one, I think it is something to do with dreams. That's the one traveling right now. And it's just, so I drew a bunch of horses on my iPad, and then I printed out the shapes and had them cut out on papers that I had painted, and then I collaged those together, and then did other painted markings all over to make that piece. And then the one that's in the whimsical exhibit, I did my usual dark blue background that I like to have in all my pieces, and I painted like I think those are more of like a Pegasus type creature, but I painted those and then collaged their wings, and then I cut out like a ton of little flowers and I put those all around it. And I like to include a lot of elements in my artwork because I think it makes it so fun to look at and then come back to and then notice something that maybe you didn't see before. So yeah, seeing something new like every time you look.
How do you approach your art? Like, do you have a time of the day you're going to sit down and do it, or are you just, I feel like creating some art, or I've got an exhibit coming up, I better get my act together and start creating?
Well, yeah, like having an exhibit is always a great motivation, and it seems like I get the most work done when I'm like, okay, there's 3 weeks until this deadline. I'm gonna submit something and I'm gonna create something right now. So, that's a great way to get a lot of work done. But my most productive time is really early in the morning, like between 5 and 6:30 a.m. And that's like all important stuff needs to be done right away during the day. And when I'm focusing on art and trying to be consistent, like it has to happen like right when I wake up. Hmm.
Oh, wow. Well, kudos to you for
Or else it won't
doing that.
happen. Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Hmm.
No, I get that. Because I can't, it's hard for me to do art in the evenings because I'm kind
Hmm.
of wiped out. And
Yep.
yeah. So when you create your art, can you kind of run through like what is that like? Like I know you get up early and work on it.
Hmm.
Do you um do you look through books for inspiration? Do you take a walk? Do you have all these ideas in your mind already, um, that you just kind of pull from? How does that work for you?
So the inspiration kind of happens over time, and I keep a note going in my phone, so that I don't lose the ideas. And my I'm inspired when I listen to music or see a
Mm,
musical performance, on TV or in, real life or whatever. But music is my main inspiration. I'm not as inspired by looking at other art. I love looking at other art, but I don't it's almost a fear of maybe doing something too close to another artist, so I love looking at other art, and I have several favorite artists. But yeah, inspiration comes through music. I write down things in my notes app. My inspiration comes through relationships. Like I'm really inspired by my husband, to be honest. Like when I think about our relationship, I get inspired for a lot of artwork. And
mm,
then yeah, I'll do the notes app, and then when I'm in my art room, then I'll put some music on that I like. Usually it's Gregory Alan Isakov or Lord Huron, like something like that. My husband calls it my sad music, but I love it. He can't stand it. But yeah, I listen to that, and I just like to get in the flow, kind of lose track of time. Hmm.
okay.
So your mom's an artist, right?
Hmm.
Did
Yeah, she
you
is.
do you want to talk about that? Like, was that
Yeah, yeah.
motivating or?
Yeah. So, I always admired that she went and and got an art major, and in addition to her elementary ed major. But I could always say, oh, my mom was an artist. And growing up, I don't even know if I had any creative talent, but my mom would always tell me, oh, you're so creative. Or she'd tell people, Alicia's so creative, she's such an artist. And I almost feel like it was like willed to be, like if you hear something over and over again, you kind of start to believe it. And I kind of feel like that's what happened. So yeah, but we in the past we've done art challenges together. So
Mm,
I have like my mom, Lenore Petraszewski, and then my aunt Clarice Klein, who lives part-time in Arizona, and I think part-time on the East Coast. Actually, I think she's in Arizona most of the time now. She's an art quilter, like a collage quilter, who makes the most incredible quilts. And my mom has been focusing mostly on watercolor, and I focus on mixed media. But we pick a word, like for example. I picked the word star the last challenge we had. So we would each do our own piece with star as the prompt.
mm,
So actually, we were just talking, we're going to start this up again. So I'm really excited. And like our goal is one day to have a collection of our work, on display somewhere where my Aunt Claire has a quilt, my mom has a watercolor, and then I have
mm.
my own piece.
Mm.
So yeah, yeah. So yeah, we have that kind of relationship with our art and together. It's really nice. Hmm.
That is so cool.
Hmm.
I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Do you do that with your son then? Is he artistic or?
No, he's he, he probably could, anybody can be creative and artistic, but he doesn't seem to be interested at
Sure.
this time. Yeah. He's more, he's 14 and he just finished building a computer from scratch. Like he
Oh,
bought the
wow.
components, over time. It took him about 8 months, and we went to Best Buy a couple weeks ago. I got Windows 11. He installed the operating system and it works.
Wow.
It's really impressive. Yeah. He's very smart. Mhm.
That is impressive.
Yeah.
Um, when it comes to your personal work,
hmm
what do you aim to say? Is there something you kind of want to convey through your artwork? Is another way to ask is what do you hope people might experience when they engage in your art?
Yeah. I feel like I'm trying to convey like kind of the world right outside of ourselves. I don't really know how to explain this, but I try to show it like movement the movement going on or outside our bodies, or uh like like I have a lot of swirling shapes in my artwork, or um it's it's more like of a spiritual nature, I guess, and not necessarily religious, but like a spiritual, like there's something going on, outside of our bodies that affects us. A connection between each other, a connection between, us and our higher power, and like it's the space in between that, and
Mm.
th- that's that's what I like to work in. hmm
Mm. Yeah, I like that.
hmm
So kind of a would you say like energy
Yeah,
or
I would say like an energy or a color, like a aura type thing, um, uh, like when I said I'm inspired by my husband and our relationship, like the first this is going to sound unusual to some people, but this is what happened to me. The first moment I saw him, like I didn't know him until I was 22, but the first moment I saw him, he had a gold halo around him, and like I
Mm,
knew instantly that, and I've never seen that again on anybody. You know what I mean? I didn't know
hmm.
who this person was. So I, obviously, that was a big deal to me.
Well,
So it's
yeah.
like trying to recreate or show that those special moments that kind of hit you like a truck. Yeah.
Right, right. That's so
hmm
fascinating.
hmm
'Cause I have heard people talk about how they can sort of see auras around
hmm
people, like certain kinds of light or energy.
hmm
Um, I don't know if I've met somebody in person that has seen
well,
that. That is
well,
that is so cool.
yeah, it's and the one other time I had this experience was, so that was, meeting my husband, but at my dad's funeral, my sister-in-law Naomi, her father Irv is a very spiritual man, and we were coming out of the church, with, the pallbearers and everything, and Irv was standing on the back of the church, and I could see he was saying the rosary with a bright white rosary, and I saw the light coming from his rosary like
Mm,
around us, and that was another, like, I could feel it, and I saw the light coming from him, and yeah, it's those moments that are, you can't really explain them verbally. You can try to to put them like on a picture, but it's like trying to recreate the feeling, not the,
hmm.
yeah. Yeah.
So would
Wow.
those be some of the things you would write down in your notes?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. hmm Yeah. Yeah, I was really inspired by that, for sure. So,
Mm.
Yeah.
And then do you get a sense of how you want to portray it or the materials that you might use, or does that come as you're creating the art, do you think?
It usually comes as I'm creating the art, but I keep going back to the same things. Like I love to do image transfers. So one of my favorite pieces, I just opened a magazine and I cut a shape out basically of a person that was kind of reaching, and then I did the matte medium image transfer technique. I can show you. Um, and then I did like stars. Oh, whoops. So,
Mm.
so this piece uses the image transfer technique where you see the shape of the person. So, I use a lot of
Mm.
tissue paper, um, shiny things like the tissue paper with gold foil. I understand that I'm not using um, media that's going to last forever. And I know a lot of
Mm.
artists are worried about that. Like, oh, I'm not going to use this watercolor or acrylic because it's, not light fast or something like that. And I mean, nothing lasts forever. And if somebody enjoys my artwork for 10 years or 15 years and then decides, you know what, they're going to move on from it, that's okay. Like I've thrown my artwork away too. Like sometimes it's just time for it to go.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of tissue paper, mixed media type materials, and I've even used sequins in my art because I like them. So
Mm.
I
Yeah.
usually
Why
sew
not?
those on. Those are usually sewn on, so
Oh,
they
Mhm.
stay. Yeah.
okay.
Hmm.
Cool. Yeah. I like that attitude you have that it all, nothing lasts
Hmm.
anyway. So have fun. And
Hmm.
when it's done, it's done.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why, sometimes I think, like I've mentioned, like when I'm entering a piece into one of Northwest Minnesota Art Council exhibits, like sometimes it probably looks like more of a craft or like an art project, but you know, it's I think that's okay.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
I was gonna show this one, like uh,
Mm.
this, is all cut out fabric and there
Yeah.
actually is, oh, it's kind of changing, like this I'm having issues with the boots already. Like the boots were brown construction paper and they faded.
Mhm.
Mm.
But that's okay
Mm.
now, instead of like dark saddle leather boots that looks like deerskin, so it's
Right.
Right.
it'll be fine.
Do I'm thinking about your process, which you've talked about, uh, but I want to tag on another question with that. Do you have any kind of process that you go through to get ready to create? I mean, do you like to meditate? Do you like to, um, you know, light a candle? Is there any kind of practice that might help you feel like you get in touch with this energy that we've been talking about?
Um, well, it is like it does primarily go back to just listening, taking a moment to just listen to some really good music that I like. I do meditate, but it's not in the morning before artwork. And I one of my biggest downfalls is the lack of consistency I have in my art practice. So usually by the time that I sit down to work on art, I feel like I'm gonna burst. Like it just,
Mhm.
I have ideas that need to come out like in such a strong way that it's like, okay, like this is what I'm doing for the next 2 days. Like that's kind of what it comes down to.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
I know, I think you've done some workshops or taken advantage of different arts
Hmm.
things. You want to talk about any trainings you've had or education in the arts?
Yeah. So back at before the pandemic, like 2018, 2019, I was really trying to bust into illustration, like specifically children's book illustration. And so I went to Los Angeles with the help of the Arts Council with one of their grants. And I had the most amazing week with the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators. I went to their annual conference. I took a ton of classes by like many famous authors and illustrators. I was on the elevator and got to talk to the editor of the Harry Potter series. I mean, the people I met, it was just unbelievable. So that was just really, really inspiring. And then I don't want to use it as an excuse, but when COVID happened, like things really changed in the publishing world, like in a negative way for me. And and then, along with like just everybody's just a general kind of depression, you know what I mean,
Hmm.
during that
Yeah.
time. Things didn't really pan out. But yeah, the education that I had in Los Angeles was incredible, and it's something that I'll have with me forever. So if it is something that I want to go back to, I have the ability to do that. I took part in a portfolio, um, like a portfolio expo during that time. So myself and 200 other artists had their portfolios on tables where everybody could come look at them, and then we'd have marketing postcards. That was something I learned about, like how to market yourself. But this is just,
Mm.
it's really
Yeah.
hard to see it in the photo, but I had again, a horse.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
And then so these illustrations were done digital, so on my iPad.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Awesome.
So yeah, that was probably my biggest learning experience with classes. And then I also took a writing class with Kim Pruba. I hope I'm saying her name
Hmm.
right,
Mhm.
in Warroad, which was great, and that was many years ago, but it was really good. Hmm. Hmm.
Cool. Um, if you, I'm just thinking back about like, it, we think about our childhood or our younger selves. If you could give your younger self advice around creativity and artwork,
Hmm.
what advice would you give?
I would have told myself to ask my art teacher more questions.
Mm.
And I had the most amazing art teacher, and just the opportunities I had to gain knowledge from her, I feel like I probably didn't take full advantage of that, to be honest. We didn't have high school art at Stephen Argyle when I was going there. So the art teacher from Warren agreed to do like college art classes after school. So I was doing that. And I just wish I would have taken the opportunity to learn more from her, because that's been one of my biggest struggles, is feeling like I don't know proper technique. And yeah, also even my younger self, just to keep going, and like lean into the things that you like to do.
Mm.
Yeah. I also, one more thing. I wouldn't
Sure.
have listened to anybody that said you can't make money from art. Like,
Mm.
yeah, oh, don't go to school to be a graphic designer. You're
Mhm.
gonna, be a poor artist. That's not true. So that.
Good. Okay.
Mhm.
So before we went live, we talked a little bit about commissions,
Mhm.
and like you sell your artwork, like the pieces in the
Yep.
exhibits are often for sale.
Yep.
But do you want to talk about commissions or
Yeah,
something?
absolutely. So all of my artwork I do, for the most part, is for sale. I'm always willing to sell it, and um, it I price it at a certain level, based not on the time. the art that I do takes a lot of time. Like it is very time consuming. It's a lot of like cutting things out with an X-Acto knife, sewing things on. So I price it where like I would feel okay parting with it because I do love each piece, but I'm not gonna sell it for for you
Right.
know, it's gonna come with a price. But I've learned in the past, when asked to do commissions, that shuts down like my creativity like nothing before. As soon as something feels like a job to me, it's over. Like it is
Mm.
over. Um, I I really struggle coming up with something that I'm proud of and feel good about if I'm being paid for it. Um, before I've even finished it. So I'd rather
Mhm.
somebody that like my work just buy something I've already made because they'll be getting my best work.
Mm.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
How can people see your work?
I do have an Instagram account. It's Alicia Spilde Artist. I'm not the greatest at posting, and that is, another thing to keep my creativity going. Am I creating this art to post on Instagram or because
Mm.
I want to?
Mm.
So I'm
Right.
really, really careful with that. So I'll post things here and there. Otherwise, yeah, like the Northwest Minnesota Arts Council exhibits, I try to enter, every year. I think I
Right.
missed last year, but I try to be consistent with it because it really gets me going. So yeah. Hmm.
Well,
Do you, how do you feel being an artist impacts your life, like your job now and
Hmm. Yeah.
your house, everything?
Okay. Yeah. Sometimes I feel like maybe people don't want my design advice because I have such a unique home, but that's not what I would pick out for them. Like I've had people like not, like close to me not ask because they know like they don't want their house like mine, you know what I mean? But that's not what I would pick for them because I know it's for very few people. I have a really colorful home, and it's like looking inside my brain, so that's my house. Yeah. So but for it impacts my job because I I have a great eye for color and I can help people pick out paint, and I'm usually really, really right on with it. I'm really good at like cool and warm tones and just matching wood tones to a certain color. The color wheel is like spinning in my brain all the time. Like I always thinking about the color wheel for somebody's home. Yeah, so and that's, for exterior, interior, everything. Like it needs to work together. So, yeah. And I have a lot of ideas as a creative person. I always tell like my coworker Haley, I said I have a lot of bad ideas, but I have to get them out because then we'll get to the good ones. So
hmm
I all the bad ideas I have, I say those first, and then we figure something out. So yeah.
Cool.
Do you
Yeah,
think you naturally have that color sense and design sense, or
I do.
like,
I think it's just natural to
yeah.
me. Yeah.
And have
Mhm.
you seen it more for change throughout time as
I
experience
guess
change?
I've learned that like what I can for like my own home, I guess consistently I've become consistent with what I like, and I always say like if you know what you like and you put all those things together, like it's going to turn out, it's going to look great because it's going to be all
Mm.
the things you love. And that's kind of how I've designed my own home, and I encourage people to do the same. Yeah. So mhm.
Okay. Well, now I'm really curious. I want to see the inside of your
Yeah,
house.
can you give us a tour of your house?
Yeah, there's a lot of blue. There's a lot of blue. Surprise, surprise. Yeah.
Are any photos on Instagram?
I know. Well, I don't think I do have any
Okay.
photos on Instagram.
Okay.
I did on Facebook post I changed up my living room recently. Yeah. And
Okay.
I used to have really bright green walls in here and it looked amazing. But I really wanted blue couches, so I have those now. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, can explain how does this work? Like if somebody wants your advice on color scheme for
Mhm.
their house, what would they do?
Yeah. Well, they could, email us, call us, or stop in, and they could. It, we usually ask them, what are the things that have to stay, in their home or on the outside of
Hmm.
their home? Like, do they have black trimmed windows outside that have to stay, or do they have a certain color flooring that needs to stay? And then we start with that, and then move forward, because everything needs to work together. So we base the we base the final product on our constraints that we have at the beginning. You know.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. And then
Yeah.
then you like have a consult fee, or how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, if we're just helping someone pick out paint colors for their home, that's not a big deal at all. But if, like, for instance, if Haley has to draw their home on our software, and then do a lot of people need to see it for themselves, like on a piece of paper, what is this going to look like? We can do that and do like a 3D walkthrough for their home, with the finishes
Okay.
that we're recommending. That's something that would have a design fee. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, but we're
So,
very affordable.
okay. Okay. Well, my mind is going, I'm thinking about,
Mhm.
if an artist is like struggling with, I'm not sure what colors to put together,
Mhm.
or, like I'm thinking about myself, like a mural, like I'm not sure how this would
Mhm.
fit. People could email you and just
Mhm.
talk with you and ask you some questions, and you could
Oh
help them
yeah.
out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I
Awesome.
love talking about color. I just love helping people with paint color. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, that's fascinating because I ordered a a book on color,
Mhm.
because I really struggle with
Mhm.
the color wheel, and
Mhm.
how it all fits together.
Mhm.
So I ordered a book. I ordered this little box of color cards you can spread out and
Oh.
mix and match, and on the back it tells about the color. And
Mhm.
then something else, I ordered something with the color wheel. But anyway,
Mhm.
yeah, I think that's, I'm like trying to figure out this color wheel,
Mhm.
and then I hear you saying, I've got the color wheel in my
Yeah.
head
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah. Well, it's really funny because I probably come off a little too harsh sometimes, because, like, we'll look at colors, I'm like, nope, 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 yep, like, you know what I mean? Like, I
Mhm.
just see it. Like,
That is
it's either
great.
yes or no.
I think
Well,
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
it's a gift because I don't have it either. Like, I feel like I have the design thing going well, but
Yeah.
color is, I struggle.
Oh,
And I'm
yeah.
like, how do you learn that? But I don't think I can. I have to
Right.
rely on you.
Mhm.
Right. Well, and my I was just talking to my adult daughter a while ago, and with advice on some new glasses, and she was just telling me, this is my advice. You either like it or not, but I'm just going to be honest and tell you exactly the way it is. And she said she has a lot of friends now that come to her
Mhm.
for clothing advice, fashion advice, because they know she will not mince words. She'll say, that looks terrible, or she'll
Yeah.
say, yes, that looks good. And they
Yeah.
know that. And so they go to her. So I think that's great. You can just
Yeah.
say, no, no, no. Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Did you have any other art you wanted to show us, or did you show us
Um,
what you've got there?
let's see. Oh, it was just kind of funny, actually. I was looking through some of my stuff, and I found something I did really early. So I didn't create any art um when my son was really young. It probably took me like until he was 5 or 6 to where I got back into it again. And this is just a reproduction, but it's one of the first pieces I did
Mm.
coming back into it. And I just, like, I don't own this piece anymore. Honestly, I think it's one of the ones I tossed because it was starting to just come apart. but I'm glad I have this reproduction. But it's just kind of funny to see the influences I had. Like, I think Zentangle was really big at the time. And then, but I have that blue background and the sky and you know, obviously I wanted to be understood so much that I had to put words on there, like every trail connects, and you know, the swirls of like the connection. You know, it's kind of fun to see that one, and how different it is compared to what I'm doing now. I mean, similar and different. So yeah, yeah.
Right.
So, mm-hmm.
How do you know when you're done with a piece?
There is a definite feeling. It has to be balanced in a way that feels right to me. You know, just the
Hmm.
overall composition has to feel right. Maybe when I'm tired of, like, I can't sew on one more sequence or cut out one more flower. That plays into it. But yeah, there's an overall harmony that I I know, like, deep down that it's done. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is there anything else you'd like people to know about you or that you wanted to make sure we talked about?
No, I think we covered a lot. Yeah, no, I feel like we covered pretty much everything. Yeah, thank you for the questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Did
has
you have
been really
other?
good.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, Trey, did you have any other questions or anything else you wanted to say about either the traveling exhibit or the Welcome to Whimsical exhibit?
Yeah, the Welcome to Whimsical, it's a really fun exhibit. There's a lot of interesting creative pieces. So I'm really happy with that exhibit, how that turned out, and all the people that entered. And then, yeah, the traveling exhibit I just set it up in Roseau, and we take the traveling exhibit to a library in each of our 7 county region in Northwest Minnesota. And so it's in Roseau for a few weeks, maybe 5 or 6 weeks, and then it goes to Hallock next. So, yeah. And yeah, this has been really fun, Alicia. I still thinking about that halo and the white light.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking about all, the colors that how they just are there
Mm-hmm.
for you. And I just find that so fascinating. So
Yeah.
thanks for
Yeah.
sharing all that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to end the stream.
Okay.